let us come back for another week. and we're fired up. Always Michigan guys fired up. We sweated a little bit last night watching, there's our mugs right there, Scar and Duke coming back for week 2 on Hail Media. But big basketball game last night. They made us sweat a little. Dusty wanted to give the fans their money's worth, but it was a great Michigan victory. Defense found a way. We didn't make all our shots. But what are your thoughts on that game real quick?
I thought, you watch them come out and can 10 of 19 3-pointers in the first half, and it was just, man, it was a sweat. And then to come out of the halftime for 7 minutes of the second half, that was about as bad a basketball as you could watch. But defense really picked up. Trey McKinney was a spark plug that really helped out. They hit their free throws, and Nebraska shoots 1 of 12 from 3 in the second half. It was a panic attack for about 60% of that game. Then it was a dogfight, and then it was, man, what a relief.
Yeah, that was a little. Dude, I used to coach basketball. I played it and coached it, and what I would tell the Michigan people, Coach McCartney. I never forget. I had him for 1 year, but he said this. He used to tell us, men, you got to stay in that even plane. Life is never as good as you think, and it ain't never as bad as you think. So when you start thinking you're going to shoot the ball like you did against Gonzaga every damn week, when Michigan fans think that that's where we're going to get it, no, that ain't going to happen, okay? But what I know about basketball, and Dusty May is we're doing it. Michigan State, I respect the guy, okay? He's got the philosophy. You play defense, you rebound, and you have fast break baskets. That shows up every week. That doesn't take days off. Okay, you might have a day you're not making shots, but Michigan is playing defense and they're rebounding and they're getting fast break points. That shows up every week. A bad night shooting doesn't affect those 3 things. But that's what I think has kept us in some games. We had Lundberg and Namari were 0 for 11, dude. 0 for 11, and we win the basketball game. So that's where I'm at with that team. We got the Spartans, and I think this team is built. Dusty May understands. You're going to play basketball in the Big Ten. You better have physical dudes that are going to defend and rebound and fight with them guys in East Lansing. And I think we have the kind of team that's capable of doing that. I'm fired up where we're at. It's a good win, playing very average at best. And that's my final thought on that basketball game. You got any other thought on that?
Yeah. Could you quit turning the ball over? If you quit turning the ball over, these games aren't as hard, right? Some of those turnovers, Cadeau did not have a great game. Yaks didn't have a great game. So to overcome some things like that and all the turnovers, that was a hell of a win against an undefeated Nebraska team. But you're going on the road up to East Lansing, and that place will be louder than any place this year. It's going to be a zoo. Yeah. And Michigan's going to have to play their best game.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going to go over a couple quick things real quick. Gary Patterson is now the defensive coordinator at USC, the old TCU coach. Great defensive coach. So that'll be a different scheme. We don't play them, but that's something of note. We've got 2 Michigan guys. We've got Jesse Minner, a guy that I remember when he was 10 years old. I knew his dad from way back at the camp. He is now the head coach with the Ravens. We got Mike Macdonald and a bunch of Wolverines playing in the Super Bowl. You've got Partridge and Jay Harbaugh. So we're happy for Minner. We're happy for Macdonald and those Michigan guys. Any thoughts about those things I mentioned?
Well, you got Jesse Minner now a head coach in the NFL, Mike Macdonald a head coach in the NFL, Jim Scarcelli a head coach in the NFL. It wasn't the signs, you idiots.
That's right. That's right. And that's where, I want to talk about that real quick because I'm going to quote the old, I know the old man Harbaugh a little bit. You met him a couple times back in the day, but I remember talking to Jack, and he said this. And you got to have an eye for great to hire a great coach. But he said this: you hire one bad coach, it'll get you beat. It'll get you fired. I remember Jack Harbaugh saying that. You hire one bad assistant coach and get you beat and get you fired. And
That's
that,
a tough
Jim
thing.
hit
Think about
right with
that,
those
man.
guys.
Think about that, though. Think about all the guys that came through when Jim started in 2015 until he left. Think about all those assistant coaches. Pep Hamilton, he had in there. Drevno, he had Tim Drevno in there. He had Sharon in there. Think about all these guys. DJ Dirk in his first year as a defensive coordinator. You go and hire and interview the best guy that you think is for the job. And some of them are not that good. Some of them are better than others. But it took a while. Look, Jim, talk about hiring the wrong guy and it costing you your job. 2020, a terrible year for football, of course, but man, there was a lot of people out for Jim's scalp. So you're right. And then he brings in the right guy, Mike Macdonald, and then we're off and running.
Well, that's why I am so fired up. The more I do my homework on who Witt's bringing in, we're hitting it on all cylinders, man. We don't have a weak link. We got studs everywhere. We're going to look at the strength coaches a little bit today. We're going to look at the offensive line coach, and I think Witt's been doing it for 20 years, man. And I'm really, really confident where we're at there. Brian Knorr is a name I remember. My good buddy played at the Air Force Academy, but Brian Knorr's been around, and this is just up today. He was a former defensive coordinator at Air Force who always plays good, tough defense. Guy's been around a long time, but we're bringing him in. So Witt has a relationship with Brian Knorr, he's going to work with Kerry Combs with special teams. So I remember him as a defensive coordinator. He's been around a long time. Those Air Force, Utah, them guys are all in the same neck of the woods. So he's probably known him a long time. So when I just saw that today, before we came on, any thoughts about Brian Knorr? He was at Ohio State. He's going to work with Kerry Combs.
Yeah, right. So when you're talking about somebody that was a Division I defensive coordinator coming in to help out with the program, that's a win, right?
Yeah.
Just like getting Kerry Combs. That's a win. This guy's a great recruiter. He's done really well in special teams. He's coached at Ohio State and other places. He's been a defensive coordinator. Witt's not going to bring in some stiff, I don't think. He's got a lot of connections. Like you said, he's been doing this for a long time. Yeah. His dad was doing it for a long time. His uncle's been doing it for a long time. So this guy's got connections, and he's going to bring in guys that he can trust. And he's just like the Baltimore Ravens did to Jim. They sent guys to him that they trusted.
Yeah.
That, hey, Jim, you looking for a guy that can be a coordinator? Mike Macdonald's that guy. Macdonald leaves. Hey, you need a guy? Here's Minter. And so Witt's got that kind of connections out there all across the country. So I'm not fired up. And we're going to talk about the strength and conditioning coach later on. Another guy that's been with him for a long time. Yeah. So a great assistant. The guy's got his ex-players love him.
Hey, dude, you got to find a new word. Stiff is my word, okay? That's my word. Anyway, more good news. The good news keeps coming. We got Rock and Rod Moore coming back, the captain, 6-year, just got approved. Yeah. He's in. It's done. I remember talking to Doug Mallory about him. Rod was not a really highly recruited kid, and Doug was really surprised. I think he's from Ohio, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, he was surprised the Buckeyes let him go. And he said I remember him when he was a young guy. He's like, man, we hit the jackpot with that kid before he really started to play. But that's great news. He's a player. He's a leader. He's a great kid. So any thoughts on him?
Oh, man, that's your captain. And that guy, he was hurt, came back from that. He got to play last year. I remember watching early. I don't remember what game it was, but there was a play. He was at safety. And there was like a screen pass, and he came flying up and made a great tackle, stopped the play, didn't get the first down. And it was a flash. It was like, who the hell was that? And that's a guy that recovered from a bad injury. So I'm looking forward to it. I think he's the leader of the defense.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump into this. How are we looking? Are we seeing the schedule right now?
Yep. See the schedule. Yep.
I'm gonna jump into the schedule. It came out yesterday, and I've got some good thoughts. I don't want to spend a ton of time on each team, But as a coach, and I'm going to look at, I just made a couple notes, a couple observations. Okay, I think us in Ohio State, we got tough schedule. Okay, I think Penn State really. I mean, there's a big discrepancy in disparity. I think in some of the teams people are playing. Penn State, they don't play Ohio State. They don't play Oregon. That's huge. Indiana.
Penn State's going to have to try to not make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I'm a former high school coach, man, and you look at schedules right away. If you're coaching in the Big Ten, you want to know. You look at your schedule, you get it in the mail, wherever you get it. You go like, okay, do I play Oregon? Do I play Ohio State? Do I play Michigan? Right? Do I play Indiana? That's the first thing. Then you're looking at where's Maryland? Where's Rutgers? You know what I mean? You're hoping you have some of those guys on your schedule. But anyway, we got no favors here. It's a tough schedule. It's a great schedule. We got a lot of home games though. That's just good. That's big. That's huge. 8 of those games are home. But in general, there's a lot of disparity in the difficulty of the schedule. But it is what it is. We're capable of winning every football game there. But like Indiana doesn't play Oregon or Penn State. You look at the guys that have the most tradition, the most resources, and traditionally who have been real good. I mean, you can make the argument for USC being there with Penn State, Illinois, and some of those people. But anyway, let's start off. I'm going to go real quickly. Some of my thoughts. I love having somebody like, but I always wanted a tough game one, if I got my quarterback back. But we've got Western Michigan. We'll get them home. We'll get everybody get a bunch of guys playing, and then we get Oklahoma coming in with Mateer back. But the first, you got to get ready for Oklahoma. But game 3, those 3 games do, in my opinion, you got to get about 60 guys ready to play because it's a 12-game schedule. So that's first thing is get a bunch of guys ready to play for a long, difficult schedule. That's my first thoughts on 1 through 3. Go ahead, you jump in.
Well, first of all, Western Michigan is the defending MAC champions. They won 10 games, I think, and they have a returning quarterback. This big kid, he's 6'5", 230 pounds, something like that. He was the MAC Player of the Year, complete 63%. They better, remember, we're breaking in a new offense. We're breaking in new coaches. It's going to be new terminology and everything like that. So they got to come out of the gate shooting because Western is a well-coached team. And then, of course, you're bringing back Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is bringing in Mateer. And Mateer really killed us last year on the quarterback runs. Oklahoma loses that tight end that had a couple of big passes and their top 3 receivers from that game, but they get some guys from the portal, and they are returning their 2 top running backs. And their line was young last year. I think, as a matter of fact, both their tackles were freshmen. So that's a dogfight right there. And then UTEP. I think UTEP is the worst team in Division I football, something like that. But the first 2 games are going to be a test. Obviously, it's all in the quarterback and the offensive line. We're going to talk about that offensive line a little bit later here. That's going to be the leader of the offense. Is how that offensive line goes is how the offense goes.
Anyway, so now we go Iowa. We got Iowa coming to Ann Arbor. Phil Parker. We got 2 great defensive coaches. The first two tough games. Venables is as good as they get, and then Phil Parker at Iowa. So those are 2 really, really good defensive coordinators. Iowa's losing their quarterback. That's going to be a low-scoring game. So they're tough. We got them coming to our place. We go to Minnesota then. And PJ's got his quarterback back. He's a young Drake May type looking kid. I don't know if you saw that kid play. So PJ's got his quarterback back. That'll be our first road game, and then we get the bye week. And then Penn State, Matt Campbell will have players. He's got his quarterback coming over with him. He's got the best players on his roster came with him. That's what he did. He took the top 30 kids from Iowa State and he's got the defensive coordinator that we faced at USC last year. So we know, again, this
Oh,
is
that's right.
Yeah, so that's what we have
Well,
with Iowa, Minnesota, and Penn State. We're going to see, Minnesota quarterback back, Penn State quarterback back. So any thoughts on those three games?
all right. So Iowa went 9-4 last year. They lost Iowa State, Indiana, Oregon, and USC. All right. So we lost to USC. So I think they were very similar to Michigan. They beat Vandy in the bowl game. Gronkowski is out of eligibility, but their running back, Kamari Moulton, he's back. He's and it's freshman tight end, that Von Am. That guy's great. That guy, big 6'4", 240-pound receiver, tight end freshman, caught 29 balls and 3 TDs. It's going to be typical Iowa. And like you said, it's usually low scoring. They scored more points last year, of course, than they did the year before. And Michigan's offense, again, should be able to put points on the board behind a veteran offensive line, a couple of really quality receivers, and 3-4 good running backs. Defensively, that's where the ball game's going to be won or lost.
Yeah. The bye week, it's before Penn State. We only got one bye in the Big Ten this year. I always thought if I'm coaching, if I got momentum and everybody's healthy, I don't really want the bye week before a tough game. I'd rather have the bye week before a lamb chop. You seriously do. It depends on if you're healthy or not. That's kind of how I look at the bye week.
Michigan's getting one bye week this year, so they only got one bye, and so 1, 2, 3, 4. This is right in the middle of the season, basically. So that works out okay. Bringing in Penn State, bye week, because this is a new coach and a new system. The bye week might not be too bad. We just got done playing Oklahoma and Iowa in a month's time, in Minnesota, having to travel. So I don't mind. Bye week's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. But Penn State, with the new coaching staff, new quarterback, it's going to be a new look. We're going to need whatever we can to either A, get healthy, and or B, bone up on what they're doing. I don't know, I don't know what to expect from Penn State, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Their schedule, though, we talked about it real quick, and I just want to hit some high points here. They played Marshall, Temple, Buffalo, Wisconsin, at Northwestern, USC at home, then they come to Michigan.
Yeah,
they get a bye. Then they have Purdue, Washington, Minnesota, Rutgers, and at Maryland. I mean, this is literally,
that's terrible.
Like I said, they'd have to try to miss the playoffs.
You talk about disparity in the scheduling. That's terrible. Yeah, the whole league is going to want Michigan to win that football game. If we don't knock them off, I don't know who's going to get them. Yeah, that's kind of a joke.
Let me give you the opposite of Penn State's schedule real quick. I know we're going through the middle of ours, but just real quick, USC, first they got to travel out to Rutgers. Then the next week they're playing Oregon, then Washington. Then they got to come back to the East Coast and play in Penn State, get a bye. Then they got to come back to the Midwest to play Wisconsin. The next week they play Ohio State. They get a bye, and then they got to travel to Indiana.
Yeah.
I don't know who hates USC at the Big Ten office, but, man, they got a grudge.
Yeah. But Penn State, we'll be ready for that game. But what I like about Indiana is they do get the Buckeyes the week before they play us. So right. They'll save nothing. They'll have to run their quarterback. They'll have to do anything they have to do to win that football game. Penn State, they're going to run. He runs the hell out of his quarterback. It's one thing I know about Matt Campbell.
Campbell, yeah.
Purdy, he ran the hell out. It's what he believes in as a coach. Anyway, that's that. Indiana, we know what the hell we're going to get there. We got them at home. Yeah. It's good that they get them. We get them after they play the Buckeyes. Going to Rutgers is never a joke. Schiano's a damn good coach. He just doesn't have, I don't know if he's there. I heard they're 80 million in debt. Okay, but now we go
80 million, man.
Yeah, I'm going to try to finish up here then because I don't want to spend too much time. But now we go Michigan State. Emotional game. We'll be a much better coach football team. We'll be a physical football team. Guy's a damn good coach. He's bringing in good coaches. That'll be all hands on deck. And then we go to Oregon, dude. I've been in that stadium. It is a loud, nasty place. Them fans they know what they're doing, and they are motivated, and they will have a good team. Dante Moore will be back. That'll be a tough game. That and Ohio State will be equally difficult games to win. And we don't know what we're going to get from UCLA. They do have the quarterback back, and they do have a really good coach who's won at some different levels. And then we got the Buckeyes. But obviously, I'd say Oregon, Ohio State would be our toughest because they're on the road. Indiana could be every bit as good. But this is the thing. If I was coaching this football team, that I would want to really focus on. And I'm not saying nothing that Whit doesn't know and everybody doesn't know. You have this kind of a schedule. You got to bring in 105 of the toughest, nastiest, best team, athletic, committed football players you can find. That's number one. You better have 105 really damn good football players, and you better develop depth. You better, with that schedule, you better have 3-4 guys at every position. You better have 3 quarterbacks that are ready to go. But you better have depth. So I've got 105. I got depth. And then I got strength and conditioning. We got to have our guys in great shape to go through that kind of a gauntlet. And we're going to get in on the strength coaches in a minute. And you got to be mentally tough, dude. The coaches have to prepare guys. When you look at this schedule, I mean, you go from Michigan State emotion, and we know what that game's about. And then the very next week, we got to get a plane and go fight these guys out in Eugene, Oregon. So that's about mental toughness. 105, develop depth, get their butts in great shape, and we got to have a mentally tough football team is how I would, if I'm coaching my guys, if I'm leading this thing, that's what I'm kind of focusing on.
I agree with you, and that's what this offseason right now. We're going to talk again about Doug Elisaia, the strength conditioning coach. Yeah, they got to be mentally tough. Yeah, they got to be, physical. Blah, a lot of coach speak. They just better be good. I mean, if you're going to make this schedule into something that results in playoffs, I mean, look at this. Oklahoma, playoff team. Penn State, preseason, number one. Obviously, they fell apart. Iowa came on strong, and Kirk Ferentz has got a much better offense than he used to have. Indiana, defending national champions. Michigan State, a hated rivalry. Even though they have a new coach, I mean, they're still going to give it everything they got. And then out to Oregon, and we have not had success traveling out west like this. This is a tough-ass schedule, man. And I just, I'm not down or thinking this is a 4-loss, 5-loss team. But if they don't play well, they'll be a 4 or 5-loss team. Yeah. They're going to have to play good.
Yeah, you have to, dude, I'm working on a little bit of I'm working on some of their stuff in the spring. I guarantee our coaches are looking at film of all the people on our schedule. They're looking at film. They're figuring out our practice schedule for the spring. We got 15 practices. They will present a few things to the team. They won't even know it. The players won't even know it. Anyway, I like it. I'm fired up for it. We got the right coach. We got the right players. We can win every damn game on our schedule. And these 6 dudes right here, I don't know them. I did a little homework on them, and dude, we worked in that Michigan weight room, and we were under Mike Gittleson and a bunch of bad dudes that worked under Mike Gittleson, guys that would come in swinging, looking for you. You know what I mean? They want to crush you. They want to see if they can get you to quit. But
hey, listen, real quick. For people that are not familiar, I mean, you hear stories about strength and conditioning coaches. They talk a lot about them on the broadcasts. They're all kind of a unique guy. Let me tell you something, man. This guy is the one that gets these players ready to compete in the fall. And in any strength and conditioning coach, not just Doug. This is where it's make or break. You got guys who started last year as young, maybe freshmen or redshirt freshmen. We need them to improve and take a step forward, and it starts right now. And the strength and conditioning coach, I was reading a story about Doug, one of his former players. He's not their buddy, right? He's there to do a job and get these guys to the standard of player that Whittingham demands. And Doug Elisaia and Coach Whittingham, they're on the same page with that. How their philosophy, how they do things, the expectation of the players, the toughness that they've got a reputation for putting out the toughest team on the field. That's what they were known for, and that's what they took pride in. And he has to do that because we got a ways to go in some regards. Some of them have to get stronger, some have to get faster, and we all got to get tougher. Because in the 3 big games that we played last year, we got our asses kicked, right? Yeah. And so there's a lot of work in the offseason. And this guy, I really like his story, and he likes Whit. That's why he came. Been working with him for 21 years at Utah. And this guy he's Whit's right-hand man when it comes to the players, like the direct contact to the players, right? That's how Gittleson was with us. You had a problem, you had a whatever. Mike's not going to coddle you, but you could talk to him. You'll get a straight answer.
Yeah, from the early feedback I'm hearing from the players is they like it. There's accountability. There's toughness. There's big time. They said the warm up is the toughest darn thing. Getting the warm up right. That's what you do as you know this as a coach and in the strength coach. You demand all these little things in the warm-up. We run through the line. We don't keep, all that stuff carries over to how you play football. So anyway, these guys are all big-time dudes that were at different places, and they're not, when we were playing, you had the lead guy and then a couple of grad assistant type guys. These guys are all highly paid. They came from different places, and he got his pick of the guys he wanted to bring here. So I just wanted to point that out that a strength program at a big time college football program is now 6 big time coaches. Full time, not grad assistant, not analyst type pay. These guys are paid and they're good. But the feedback I was getting is the players really like the accountability and the demands. Kind of taking a shot that maybe they were allowed, I don't know, maybe not to be so committed in the past. But anyway.
When I talked to a couple of players at spring ball, I asked them, this was when Sharon took over and Ben Herbert left. And they had said that he was carrying on a lot of the same traits that Ben Herbert did, and even more so in the discipline area. But that was early on. Maybe things didn't follow through. Who knows? But this guy, if he's been around Whit for 21 years as his strength and conditioning coach, I think we're going to be a go. Just a quick little factoid about Doug Elisaia. He coached at Wayne State. He was the defensive line coach and strength and conditioning coach at Wayne State here back in 2000. I think it was 2001. And so he's been around the area a little bit. And the other fact I wanted to make sure everybody knows, he's from American Samoa. That's 6,700 miles south and west. It's a long, long way away, man. 6,700 miles. Long way from home, baby.
Yeah, but I haven't met any of them guys, and we'll hopefully meet them when we go up to practice. But when I look at them 6 dudes, I want them guys leading our weight room. They look like some bad dudes.
Everybody looks like a bad dude in the picture. I want to see.
Yeah, but I like what I'm seeing there, and that's that.
You look bad, and you're old.
Dude, I tell you what, we were able to listen to Coach Harding talk, and man, he's an impressive guy. He's an intelligent guy. He's a 4-year starter at Toledo. And I remember him as an assistant at Troy High School. I know the guy, I talked about it. I know the guy he worked under at Troy High School. And I remember, I believe I met him when he was just an assistant there. But he did 3 years in high school. But I listened to him talk, and he's a smart, intelligent man. He looks for athleticism. He wants athleticism. I mean, everybody wants it. But when we look at their film, I think the Jim Harbaugh prototype. If you have to, look, sometimes you're going to have to make a choice. Do you want guys that can move a 3 technique 5 yards downfield and come off the ball with 300-pound dudes and move guys, or do you want guys that maybe can pull and are a little more athletic? You don't always get both. Sometimes you get, you know what I mean? And I just have a feeling that this coach, he talked about athleticism and recruiting, and that it's a little different recruiting at Michigan. It's a little easier. I remember getting recruited, man. I was excited. Here come Eastern, here comes Central. Okay, here comes Northwestern. Here's Purdue and Michigan. But when Michigan walked in that damn high school with that M on that shirt, it changes everything, boy, when it comes to recruiting. When Coach Milan walked in with that M on that shirt, now I'm getting recruited by Michigan, it changes everything. Harding talked about that. Some quick thoughts on him,
So you had mentioned that he's an Ohio guy, right? And so he was from Maumee, Ohio. He played at Toledo. His wife is from here in Farmington Hills. He coached in Troy, and then after a couple years, he started his college coaching gigs in Missouri. What I looked up, he's been at Utah for 12 years. He was co-offensive coordinator at one point, offensive line coach the whole time, and then he's worked with Beck 1 year. It was just in 2025. But just rattle off some numbers of what that offense did. Last season, they averaged 483 yards per game. That was fourth best in the nation. They scored 41.2 points per game, which was also fourth in the nation. They rushed the ball for 266 yards a game. That was second in the nation, right? 6.0 yards per carry and 41 rushing touchdowns. Now, of those 41 rushing touchdowns, the quarterbacks were responsible for 20 of them.
Wow.
The starter had 10 of them, and the backup quarterback at Utah last year played in every single game, and he rushed for 10 touchdowns as well. For context, Michigan scored was 70th. Utah was fourth. Michigan was 70th. We were 13th in rushing TDs with 33. They had 41, and our top two running backs had 10 rushing touchdowns each, and their quarterbacks did that. The leading rushers last year was Parker, the running back, who had 981 yards and six touchdowns, right? 981 yards, 6 touchdowns on 149 carries. Devin Dampier had just 3 carries less than their leading rusher, and he scored 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned that guy. So Bryce is in for some running.
Yeah. Well, one thing, the coaches that play us, they're going to look at Utah film. They're going to listen to everything these coaches say. And one thing Harding did say, though, he's worked with Beck for a while now, and he's like, hey, a good system can adapt to what kind of talent you have. He says Beck will adapt to what the heck he thinks Bryce can do, what all these players can do. So, you're going to look at what they've done. They ran the hell out of that kid last year, and I like the idea of running the quarterback because I know how tough it is to defend. But he talked about recruiting the whole country, opposed to when he was at Utah, that wasn't as much of a possibility. So we're going to recruit the whole country more. I tell you what I really liked hearing do. He coached in that bowl game, knowing he was going to Michigan. He told his players he wanted to coach in that bowl game, and he coached Utah in that bowl game out of integrity. And he talked to Sprage. He recruited those guys back. He had a chance, and I said this when don't worry about some of these guys that got in the portal. We get the right coach hired, he'll recruit them back. And he had a chance. He sat down with Sprage and Guarnera. Sure. And he worked on that relationship, and they want to know who the hell am I playing with, man. And those dudes, they went and called. He gave them the phone numbers. Call my players at Utah. You know what I mean? Talk to them. Here you go, Sprague. That's like about the most honest and greatest reference you can have is talk to my players. Don't believe me. Let them tell you what kind of guy I am. And I thought that was great. And,
for sure. And I think that, Witt has that kind of guy because that's the kind of guy Witt is. Witt's got Doug Elisaia because that's the kind of guy Witt wants around coaching his strength and conditioning. I think you're going to find that same trait in a lot of these coaches. And then they're going to find a lot of that same trait in the players, I think. You know, I just don't, like I said once or twice before, we finally have an adult at the front of the room.
Yeah.
And he brought a bunch of adults with him. So we got some guys who are going to take it serious. And this guy, I think this Maximus 5659 in the chat says, great hire. And I think, yeah, you know, he's probably the second most important hire behind Witt. Because maybe if we don't get this guy, if we don't get Harding and get somebody else, maybe he doesn't have the same chops, maybe he doesn't have the same honesty, maybe he doesn't have the same appeal. And Guarnera and Sprage or whoever, maybe they transfer.
Yeah.
So I think it speaks a lot about the whole coaching staff.
You know what? Listening to him too, he talked about Beck being the kind of guy that takes input. They get in that staff room, they're looking at film. What are these guys running? What's Venables doing at Oklahoma? And then, but he takes input, and they have a great relationship. He gives ownership to guys. So I liked hearing that. That's a fine line when you're a coordinator. You want to give guys ownership, your position coaches. But sometimes you don't agree with them, you know, and you've been there as a coach too.
Yeah.
But I also, and he talked about Hill because he went face to face with Hill at BYU.
Right.
And he said, look, Hill's beliefs are real similar to some of the stuff that Wink Martindale did and what Minter and Macdonald did. In fact, he said he used to look at some of the stuff those guys were doing. If you listen to some of the comments from Hill, but Harding had a great deal of good things to say about Hill because he went against him, and it's basically the same stuff that everybody's trying to do. Give the offense a bunch of problems pre-snap, not knowing what the hell you're going to do, and giving them multiple looks to create confusion without confusing your guys. There was a comment about retention, and the retention starts with integrity at the top. When a kid walks into that mission to Schembechler Hall, I think they feel that sense of trust that trickles all down from Witt. Integrity, you know what I mean? And it trickles right on down to everybody on down through there, and they walk in there, and you know, when Harding's able to get Sprague and these guys back, go talk to my players, man. That's how you retain guys. If you got a good, you know, you've got credibility and you're an honest guy. You're not hiding nothing. Any other thoughts on Harding? And how about the offensive line though, dude? We're going to focus on one group each week. And why don't you go through your thoughts on how you think we might start out the season? And next week we'll do tight ends. We're going to go offensive line this week.
All right. So you got Evan Link, he's back. Blake Frazier, Nathan Afobe, Jake Guarnera, Brady Horton, Andrew Sprague. All of those guys started last year. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 returning starters, right? One of them is going to be backup. Guarnera's probably going to get moved to a guard. Brady Norton played guard. Guarnera's probably going to move to center. Brady Norton was at guard. Evan Link, I've heard, or people have given their opinion that they think maybe he moves to a guard, which I'll be interested to see because we talked about this earlier and you just mentioned it, that they like to pull their guards. They like to pull their tackles. They want to bring those guys and create extra gaps one way or the other by pulling guards. I don't know how good of a pulling guard Evan Link will be.
See, I think he's athletic, dude. I think he's an athletic kid.
Well, I think he's athletic, and you had just mentioned that you want a guy who can double team a 3-tech, drive him back 2 yards into the linebacker, and come off. He can do that. Can he run from left tackle all the way around the right tight end and try and pick up a linebacker? I don't know. And I'm not trying to throw shade at Evan Link because I really like him. I sat down with him. We have that mentor program just before spring ball starts or when spring ball's going on. And I sat at the table with Evan Link. Great guy, smart dude. He's in engineering school. Big dude. Got a huge huge ass. Like this guy's legs and ass. He's a big boy. He can move people. Can he run? I don't know. Frazier started. Afobe started a couple of games when El Hadi was out. Guarnera is our best offensive lineman, in my opinion. Andrew Sprage, again, another starter. And then, if that wasn't good enough, we have Andrew Babalola, who's coming off a knee injury, but like a 5-star offensive lineman. Avery Gatch is an interesting guy. We don't hear a lot about this dude, right? But this guy Ohio State was the first school to go in there. I just read the story about his recruiting, and their coach at
he played with Barry Sanders' kid. At Groves. I know where he played.
Yeah, so he's at Groves, and the Groves coach was like, they came in here, and Ohio State, they showed interest right away. They were the first ones. They were the first ones to offer as well. And Day had visited up there. This guy was heavily recruited by Ohio State, and he got a whole bunch of offers after Ohio State offered, but he chose Michigan. And you know what? Glad he chose Michigan, but even more glad that he stayed because this kid's got some talent.
Yeah, he traveled, dude. I follow him. I watched him play in high school, and he is an athletic, tough, mean kid. We've got, again, we want 105. We want 12 offensive linemen that can play. Give me your thoughts then, how you think it would, if you just had to throw a starting lineup out there based on.
If I had to throw a starting lineup, then I would go Evan Link, left tackle, Afobe at the left guard, Guarnera at center, Brady Norton at right guard, and Andrew Sprague at right tackle.
Yeah, you've got big-time competition with Norton. It could be Gatch competing in there.
100%.
And, we don't know how Babalola. I met Babalola. That dude is 6'6", chiseled. He's going to be something to keep off the field. But he runs a lot. Again, I think he's going to have one of them dudes playing as a big tight end defensive end. We talked about him, Maximus, Brian Knorr. Yeah, I watched him when he was a defensive coordinator at Air Force. So he's going to work with Kerry Combs. Yeah, the dude is a legitimate football coach and a good coach. And I'm glad he's going to be an analyst then working in. Any other thoughts about? I agree. There's good depth at the offensive line. Yeah. And good players there.
Well, they have a year's worth of experience. So a lot of this stuff that they're going to do, might have a different name for it, whatever. But generally speaking, we're going to see a lot of the similarities. You said depth, and then we'll talk about tight ends next week. I gotta believe that when Witt and Beck and Harding and these guys on the offensive side of the ball look at that personnel, they have got to be smiling. I mean, think about this. A returning experienced offensive line, a really athletic quarterback with a really strong arm, 2 great running backs, 3, 2 great receivers, quality tight ends. I mean, what the hell? This should be a really good offense if things all click.
Yeah, and I just said one last time. I do, because when we look at this film, I do think that some big defensive tackle or some big defensive lineman is going to be. Can you see the film?
You had it there. It was blown up. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can see it.
All right, so let's guys. We just want to look at a little more film. This is how they. This is some more empty. 4-1, man. This is a ton. This is jet sweep. They motion to empty. So a lot more empty than what we saw in the past last year. So I'm just looking at this first game. They're going to empty a lot. Here's jet motion. And look what you have to honor. Okay, there's 4 dudes out here blocking jet this way. And he a lot of pump fake and do a lot of false pulls. So as a coach, what do you defend here? You've got jet this way, and you've got quarterback power this way, and that's just what there's a ton of this stuff in the playbook. So
and that play, if you look, obviously the guards are pulling to the left, the quarterback's reading that edge on the left. That play is a setup for another play. Yeah. It's basically an option. give it on the jet or keep it on the quarterback power route.
So this is that same play, but I didn't get this part in. They shift from it. So there's what I like about this coaching staff, okay? And I was always calling for more of it. These guys are shifting fools. Shifting formation fools. They want these guys over here thinking. You play Michigan, you better be smart on defense. So here's the same play. Fake jet and then fake power the other way. Well, we got this kid coming. This young tight end slot guy.
J.J. Buchanan.
Yeah, he's out there blocking. Athletic kid. Looks like a young Loveland type guy. He'll get bigger and stronger. So here's some more empty. This is the very next play. Empty. I think they're off. Yeah, they're offsides here. I just want to look at formations, just, some of this stuff. And then again, dude, I talked about it. Again, who is this guy going to be for Michigan? I guarantee you it's what they believe in. That's a defensive tackle.
I don't know. I know you've said that a bunch of times. You know who that is?
Who do you think it'll be?
That's going to be Zach Marshall.
Okay. I mean, this kid's 300 pounds, dude.
Yeah, no, Zach's not 300 pounds, but that guy is a freak athlete. We watched some film on him last time. That guy caught a pass and ran it like he ran like Jordan Marshall.
Here's some more empty.
That dude's a rare breed, man.
Yeah, he likes empty, man. Coach likes empty. Okay, so more empty than we saw in the past. Fake quarterback power and throwing the bomb. So as a Michigan fan, I think we're going to see a lot of empty, a lot of formations, a lot of shifting. Again, we're just getting an idea of how Beck thinks.
That was well defended. I mean, the one thing I don't like about empty and passing out of that when you have 7 across the front line there is you're limited on a number of routes that you're able to run. You basically got a 2-man route out there.
Well, here's a 3-and-1 formation, guard tackle, tight end with 2 guys here. It looks like another tight end, 1 back set in motion.
Now this, I like this if we ran the ball, if we just pounded it down their throat, whether that be with the tailback, I prefer, and this was an RPO, it looks like, right? No.
Yeah, what I like here? A lot of people are running this, though, dude. He's pulling the guard. You played linebacker a little bit. Dude, why is he pulling that guard here? Look where he's throwing. Why is he pulling that guard?
It's a play-action pass, though.
But he wants to open up this.
The linemen are setting up a pass.
Yeah, he wants to get this linebacker to cheat over here with that guard. You know what I mean? To throw it right back here where he, I think that's some of the thinking there. You follow me?
It is 100%. It is, and it worked because that slot receiver did a skinny post, and he was there for the first down.
Yeah, but they want this guy. Where are we at here? This guy here is feeling that guard pulling over here, so he's going to be late to get over here. Anyway, that's good stuff. That's why you run that false pull. So I see a ton of if I'm scouting Michigan, I see a ton of empty. I see a ton of quarterback runs. I see a ton of false pulls. There's a bunch of false pulls all the time. A guard.
Jim, I'm wondering if that's a false pull or if that's I'm going to pull this guy and I want to see what the defense does. If the defense isn't reacting, then the next time I'm going to have the quarterback keep it and follow that pulling guard. I think that's more of a test.
Yeah.
Than a false.
Okay, so you think that, so here's what you're saying. On the snap of the ball, like right now, it ball's in the mesh. Okay, right. So you're saying that he is reading.
Those two linemen are pulling out of there because there's a play that the quarterback follows those 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just I'm going to pull these guys to the left to get the linebackers out of the way, but I'm always giving the ball to this jet guy so he can find some space. I think I'm pulling these guys because there's going to come a time where I'm not giving that jet and the quarterback's going to keep it and follow it.
Yeah, he could be reading this guy. I wonder who he's reading. He could be reading this guy right here because he sees him honoring the jet, and now you've got better numbers over here running your quarterback power because you got four guys coming up here. I wonder if that's how he's reading it. But they do run quarterback power at the top. They don't really block it well.
No.
They don't block it as well as you're supposed to. And the back makes something happen out of nothing.
Well, I think, and this is Nebraska. I think Nebraska actually defended this pretty well. It looks like Nebraska was pretty well versed on what to expect.
But okay, dude, look at this right here. Okay, look at this is what Sprage and our tackles have to, because we're going to run this shit, okay? But look, this is Sprage, and this is Norton. This is Gatch. You know, look what they're both pulling, man. And I think they're going to have to be able to do it. And I think they will be athletic enough to do it.
Oh, they're 100% going to be athletic enough. That play should have gone. That guard kind of screwed up.
Yeah, the defense did a good job messing with that read. Yeah, just a couple more plays. Any comments about any plays or anything?
No, just no, not yet.
Okay. You know what I noticed too, that used to piss me off about the Jim Harbaugh coached offenses? I thought we really showed run or pass often with our stances. And I don't think they even cared.
I don't think they cared.
I don't think they even cared that they showed it. But I'm seeing this team here.
They believe that they could. I don't care. They could probably tell the guy across the line of scrimmage, "We're going to run this play," and they would be successful.
I think Utah does a better job in Witt not showing run or pass by their stance. Okay, by their stances. I'm just looking at things as a coach, and I'm seeing stances that look pretty consistent.
Dude, that's a trap play. I love this play. I love a trap. I love.
Oh yeah, you can run trap.
That's bang.
Yeah, how are they blocking this? Is this a wham? Oh, this is like wait a minute.
This is just like split zone. They're all stepping to the left, right?
Yeah, they're just blocking down. They're just blocking everybody down.
Yep. And
then kicking out here, and that ball hit up in here.
G. Yep.
Yeah, that's, anyway, okay, here you go, dude. Here's your tackle pull. This is a tackle pull. You know, this is what he wants. He wants Link, Babaloa, Sprague. You got to be able to do this if you play for Michigan. There's a tackle pull.
That's a big tackle too.
Yeah, look at the. You know, our guys can do that. So that's what they want to run. That's the end of the film session, dude.
Yeah.
And get you back, but big game up in East Lansing. Bring your fist, bring your fight, bring your mental toughness, and we got Dusty. Believe me when I tell you, dude. He built and recruited this basketball team to beat this team more than anybody. We are built to beat Michigan State because we have athletic, physical dudes that'll Johnson and Lundeberg. We ain't getting pushed around, man, under the basket. So I'm fired up for Friday night. My final thoughts are: I love our strength coach. Our schedule is we got to get 105 guys ready with depth. We can win every damn game on our schedule. I like all the good news we keep getting. Coaches coming in, Rock and Rod Moore coming back. Things are good for Michigan and 19-1 basketball team. I'm over now. That's my final thought. Go Blue. What's your final thought, dude?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how things go here with the strength and conditioning coach. I hope we get a chance to go up to spring practice. We haven't gotten any kind of communication about that, if they're letting players come in or not. It wouldn't be unusual for a coach in his first year to say, hey, no, we're just going to keep the doors closed for a while, which is fine. Not our, we aren't owed anything. All of that stuff, they need to be studying, they need to be working out, and they just need to get better, man. They have a tough schedule, and they have the athletes on offense to do it. They got to build that defense. Got some young guys, got some returning guys, got some new guys. So there's a long way to go. They got all this winter conditioning and strength conditioning to go, then spring ball and summer and blah, blah, blah. So football will be fine. Basketball, my heart beats out of its chest in a game like last night.
I
And
know.
I'm sitting there wondering, why do you care so much about this? It's not football. But man, my heart was pumping like crazy last night in those last 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes. It's frustrating when they turn the ball over, but dang, what a win. What a win. I enjoyed watching
Dude,
that.
we're brainwashed. We're brainwashed Michigan, man. We love it. Hey, hit the like button, subscribe. Hail Media, man. Loving it. Hit the like button. We're over and out. Go Blue.
Go Blue.